now listening to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast.
Welcome to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast for August of 2021. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dre.
And we're here to talk about some submissions and winners for our monthly Film Awards event.
Yeah. Let's go.
That went well. But first, Dre, as we settle in, I want to just pause and ask you a question.
Sure.
What are you watching lately?
You're going to hate me.
I've never heard of that show. Is that a movie? What is that?
I'm on a second rewatch of The Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
actually, it's not The Gilmore Girls. It's just Gilmore Girls.
I don't know how you can.
It's a lot of talking.
stand-
Listen, I know, but it's fun, and I like them, and it's fun.
They took a cadence from Dawson's Creek, and I think like Aaron Sorkin's budding popularity of the early 2000s, and they've said we need to say a lot of things really fast. They get like 12 pages of dialogue in per minute.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's so absolutely unrealistic.
Yeah, absolutely
I
it
can't,
is.
When I come downstairs and you're watching this show, I can't stand to hear it.
Which is why I pause it as soon as I know you're coming.
Hi, Billy. How are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you doing? I'm doing really great. It's just unbelievable.
It's a lot. It's
But
just there.
you enjoy it.
I enjoy it.
There's nothing wrong with watching what you enjoy.
Yeah. And on the same note, from the same creator and same producer and writer, and I guess she's the showrunner, I'm also rewatching The Marvelous Mrs Maisel, which is also a lot of talking, but it's done it's a slower pace.
Yeah, you've said a lot of good things about that in the past.
It is
seems to be quite popular.
Excellent show. I have taken a break from my normal murder death shows lately.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, take a breather from that. Well, I am on the cutting edge of modern media because I am finally watching Frasier via Hulu, and a show that I'm a huge Cheers fan. I think Cheers is the best sitcom of all time. Had some of the best characters of all time. I've probably seen Cheers, with reruns as a kid. I've probably seen it in syndication and in, like Netflix and Hulu, where it is now 100 times the season itself.
Yeah.
I know every
line
of dialogue, but I had never watched Frasier up until like a few months ago. I started watching it, and I was just not mature enough to appreciate Frasier when it started.
It is much older than Cheers.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Cheers takes place in a bar with a bunch of 30 and 40 somethings, but it just, at a time in my life when it started, I was a know-it-all teenager and had other things going on. I wasn't going to sit and watch Frasier and Niles and their old dad. But I'm absolutely in love with the show. And that's been great. But also on the cutting edge of modern media, I just watched Zodiac.
And I'm watching it with you again for the second time, and we only got an hour in, and I started getting tired.
Yes, that's true. But
it's really good.
Oh gosh, I love it. And I got caught off guard because I was we were having a conversation with some people that we've met through IndieEye, and the Zodiac came up, and I was really ashamed that I hadn't seen it. And so, it's taken me months to get to watch it. But, I like to wait a good 14 years to watch a movie. I like to let the hype die down a little bit. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's like how we watched Dawson's Creek.
That's true.
We did not watch it during the heyday.
No, we didn't. And we still haven't finished the 6th season.
We did, though.
This is not what anybody's tuning in for.
But you know what we did watch during the heyday?
What?
The OC.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes of heyday. Which, so now that you put me on the record with the OC,
yeah.
I think the first season was brilliant. Everything else that happened after that is a mess.
Yeah, it was such a great show, though.
Just to get that out there. But so yeah, I'm watching Frasier. Just watched Zodiac. I'm also, I don't know if I want to say this, but I am at times watching old G.I. Joe cartoons on YouTube that have the full episodes just to go back and see what those were like, because it was so important to me when I was younger. And they just had this quote unquote Snake Eyes movie that has nothing to do with Snake Eyes or G.I. Joe or anything. It's not, that's not it, bro. But I was amazed at how different, well, how can I phrase this? We are such a different society here in the United States in 2021 than we were in 1984, 1985, 1986, when I was watching this cartoon. The writing is such, it's unashamed to be patriotic.
Yep.
They mention God, hey, Lord knows if Cobra would have blankety blank. I mean, there was just so much language that you wouldn't hear anymore. And I didn't really I know we're a different kind of society today than we were then, but really made me think, wow, these were, the red and white stripes were normal.
Yeah.
We could all come together and say, go America.
Yep. Not anymore.
No. But so,
but it's okay. We have snowflakes. So that's good.
I will say, terrible writing for G.I. Joe.
The old ones?
As a medium of entertainment.
Well, yeah, but it was for kids.
I know.
It's supposed to be dumbed down, right?
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, they're toy commercials. They're clearly that. But just they're never quite the same as you remember them. So it's funny to see some of the things that I thought were so epic when I was 10.
I think I felt that way when I rewatched the Gem cartoons.
Yeah.
It was just like
quite.
Doesn't quite hit the same way.
Well, speaking of good things we have watched, I want to take a moment and give another shout out to one of our favorite submissions so far in 2021. Certainly one of the best feature films we've seen, and it was in our first month.
Yeah.
And they came in like a bully and beat everybody up in that first month. And took
everybody's lunch money.
They did. But it is The Alpines, directed by Dante Albane, and written by Mally Corrigan. I'm going to tell everyone right now, go follow The Alpines Official on Instagram. That's at The Alpines Official. And look for an update that should be coming soonish. They're going to be available for streaming very soon. And what I'm hoping to do is to generate a little buzz within our own IndieEye community to go support them. It would be nice if when we have these features that go out to stream, if you've been part of IndieEye, that you go support these filmmakers. Go watch, if it's on Amazon Prime for free, go watch it, rate it, be honest if you want, say whatever you want, but go give them a view, give them a rating, because that helps, your fellow filmmakers. Don't forget to mention you heard about it on IndieEye Film Awards. But also, The Alpines is going to be available for pre-order through iTunes at some point in the near future. And when that happens, I would love it if all of you or anybody listening would put in a pre-order for The Alpines when it becomes available. As a favor for me, I would ask anybody listening to go follow. That doesn't cost anything. The Alpines Official on Instagram, and keep a lookout for when their iTunes pre-order link will be available, and then go pre-order it and enjoy a good movie. And I'm sending you all to go see a good movie. And it's well done. It's awesome. And I want everyone to go check it out. So.
Okay, let's talk about some honorable mentions.
And very worthy honorable mentions this month. There were several shorts that we got this month, narrative shorts that would be fighting for second place, I'll have to say, because we received a submission this month that was just undeniable in all aspects of what it was. So, but we received so many narrative shorts this month.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them were really good. So it was very difficult to not make several of these winners. But there are several that we at least are going to give honorable mention to. So let's talk about those. And the first one we received was a horror film. It's about an hour long by Cavan Mulvey, titled Dead Visions. Now, this is a no-budget horror film. You're talking like a first-time filmmaker grabbing a camera, going out with friends, shooting this horror, but it's super ambitious, and they certainly put a lot of thought into it and a lot of effort. And that's, no matter how unsound something might be technically or unpolished it is, when it's clear and evident that you did work hard on it, that's what really gets my attention. And that's what something like Dead Vision stands out, because it's the perfect example of just starting out and having fun making your indie films. And it's just not as polished as others in our horror category this month. For an hour-long thing, it is pretty bloated, as you probably would expect for like a first-time filmmaker doing this kind of thing. You shoot it and you love it all and you want it all to be in there, and you
don't know where to cut yet. You don't know where to.
You're starting out and you're learning. So I would say to Cavan, keep going. I hope you're making more as we speak. I know making Dead Visions already made you a better filmmaker, but you're definitely an honorable mention for us in August. Congratulations to you. Another honorable mention I want to talk about is Letter from Bobian. This is directed by Stephen Paul Cook. Stephen took on a lot here. He's doing a period piece.
Yeah, it was fun to see the costumes and the set.
The cabin.
Yeah.
And, everything you're getting involved to make this is super impressive to me. I'm super impressed with period pieces when it's done by Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing this as an indie filmmaker, it says a lot about your ambition and your ability, and I think they pulled it off really well. And this is a story that it kind of cross cuts from modern times to a story in 1850, and it's based on actual events, but this story is kind of a what if this is what happened, because there's no real information on the event that happened. So it's kind of an interpretation of a particular event. But basically, it's a great hook, and obviously we enjoyed the production design. But you have a woman finding a box that contains a letter from,
this time
so long ago, 171 years ago, like that. And so this is where I'm going to okay, I want to give you a little bit of feedback, okay? And this is very, very super minor for me, but there were some exposure issues here, like particularly when we're introduced to our main modern day character. I can tell you're ramping up the shutter speed to compensate for shooting in the middle of the day because it's so bright. Slap an ND on there, get your shutter speed right, because and I'm pretty picky about this because it gives me physical illness when I see ramped up shutter speeds, because it's just really hard for me to watch, and I get a seasick reaction when I see it. Most people can't tell at all. This is my issue. But I could tell that there was just exposure problems. And you put so much work into this. I was just really surprised. There's so much thought going in there. But then in your daylight shots for this particular thing, could have been caught off guard, forgot to bring an ND didn't work, whatever. I don't know. Maybe didn't think about it. I have a hard time believing that. I think Stephen Paul Cook is a pretty competent filmmaker after seeing Letter from Bobian. But that stood out to me. And then there was one little piece. When the character finds the box, and then she's home and ready to open this box, and she's about to discover this letter that's in it. We cut from her finding the box,
which was unbelievable.
Well,
in my opinion.
That could have been handled. That could have been finessed a little bit better of her discovery. She's picking up garbage on she should have still been picking up garbage, in my opinion, and just kind of like maybe hit it.
Yep.
Heard the sound. It felt different than the ground. Maybe it's under a piece of garbage that happened to be on top. Yeah, it was a little too easy.
Yeah. And it was just out of place.
That did stand out to you very much.
Yes, it did.
But what I was going to say is when she's about to open the box, we cut from her having found the box. Now she's at home, sitting at a table. She's had a meal. She's had some wine.
Yeah.
And we start there, and the box hasn't been opened yet.
Yeah, I would have opened it right then and there when she found it.
Yeah, really, that would have been the thing.
Because the home, other than her doing like a Google search, that Google search could have been what happens at home.
Well, and you could have had, here we are trying to make Steven's movie for him. It's not our movie, it's your movie, Steven, but just, the
believability part of it.
Let us chat, please. Yeah, I think what I would have done is, you find it, maybe, she had to get something to pry it open.
Sure.
So it's rusty, it's old.
Sure.
She can't open it then. But it would have been kind of neat if she could, and she starts reading it, and then you could kind of use the writer of the letter. I think the writer of the letter should have started the narration instead of the finder of the letter anyways. But you start with the letter writer doing the narration there, as maybe our modern day character is walking back to her car, and then you could cut from the letter writer to our person going home and maybe reading the letter as she's at
stoplights or whatever.
Right. And then she's at home and doing what she does.
Yeah.
But in the shot
that would have tightened it a lot because it was a lot of filler with that home scene.
It was awkward because you start where she's sitting at the table, she's had a meal, now she's decided, well, I guess I'll go ahead and check this out. But then you have her get up, go get a tool, come back, sit down.
Yeah.
Like if you were just going to have her at home opening the box, it would have made sense to cut from being outside to boom, we're at the table, she's got the tool, and you're starting to open it.
Yeah.
And just that like 20 seconds that it took for her to get the thing and sit back down. We didn't need any of that. We as viewers, we want to get to what's in the box. What's in the box?
Seriously.
So that's just kind of what stood out to us. But great job, Stephen Paul.
But really, honestly, that was like the only part that kind of took me out of it. So just that little teeny tiny part, for me. Everything else to me, I'm just saying.
I can't agree because I thought the driving out to the location was way too long.
You're right, with all the drone shots.
I don't know what the mother's phone call had to do with anything.
I know. Other than to maybe tell someone where she was going. But again,
I thought that we were supposed to know.
Yeah.
And I'm really particular about the drone shots. I can tell when somebody has no experience with a drone. It's you can't avoid it. If you're new to a drone, it's going to look like you're new to a drone to people who are not new to drones.
This is true.
And where everything's leveled the way the drone is, you're not tilting the camera, you're not purposefully the magic of the drone is you have this, sky view shot that you can't get from the ground. So a lot of the people just say, okay, that's the winner of the shot. This shot is good because it
shows everything
400 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's not the case. You're still framing a shot. You still have to
a subject. You still have a subject to show.
It being a drone shot doesn't
tell the story.
Yeah, right. And there was where she was walking and they were moving the drone along as a side view, and she's way off to the left of the frame. You could just tell we're new to a drone with the piloting. A for effort, but if you want something that's any further feedback, which you probably don't want anymore now.
We really liked it, though.
Yeah, we did enjoy it. I was happy to see it, and I love the premise.
Yeah.
And this is
not something we'd seen before.
This is a heck of and your actors were fantastic.
Yeah, the old school actors, like the actors from the 1850s.
The old school actors.
You know what I mean?
What? the
1850s scenes.
Yes, it was
very, very good.
The important things here, Stephen, were done well. And that's all that really matters. But the letter from Bobian is a narrative short that was in a very tough fight.
Yeah.
To become the winner, but you are an honorable mention for August.
Okay, let's talk about Where Did We Go Wrong? I'll let you take this one.
Yeah. Okay, so Where Did We Go Wrong by Miguel, Mike Medina. What did this ran almost like 40 minutes as a narrative short. And it's, I loved his story. It's just that, and to say what it was, it's a personal, let's see, it's English. That's what I speak, right? Let me look for the English words. It's a true story. It's true to Mike's life. And he made a short film about it, which I thought was great. It's really cool. I like seeing the personal stories told. Because I think those are the most genuine. And you're kind of, when you're starting off, write what you know. Always write what you know. But I think he played it pretty safe, pretty smart, by pulling from his own experience. Everyone in it did a pretty good job. It's just, for me, it was very bloated. I thought this story could have been told in under 15 minutes. And This is another thing where you're just starting off. You've got to learn, or you got to practice killing your darlings. When you write it and you shoot it, and it's as personal as Where Did We Go Wrong is, you don't naturally want to cut anything. You want to tell your story.
And you feel like every single bit of it is important.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not. Mm-hmm. And the things that are important can always be condensed.
Tightened up, yeah.
It plays on screen as if it was kind of a loose screenplay, kind of typed it up real quick and went and shot it. And it really needed some refining in the screenplay department. A few more drafts, try to whittle it down. And this is a drum I'm going to beat all episode here. But I thought Miguel Mike Medina did a great job in getting something like this accomplished, getting it, conceived, produced, and completed and submitted. He's definitely an honorable mention this month. But again, it's a narrative short that was in a lot of tough competition. But my good sir, you are an honorable mention for IndieEye in August. Thank you for submitting. All right, another personal story here.
Yeah.
This was a rough watch. It was good, but it was a rough watch. And I mean that in a good way.
Just based on the content.
Yes, yeah. So this narrative short is called Mama's Boy. It's directed by Daniel James. Daniel, I'm going to butcher this. Dismuke? Demuke?
Could be either.
I'm going to call you Daniel. And thank you for submitting, Daniel. This Mama's Boy is about a drug-addicted son dealing with his past, question mark, with his mother. Mm-hmm. And it's, for me, it's closer to home than I'd like it to be. But that's a really good thing. There's a few shots in the film that really stood out to me as creative, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. Wish, I would have thought of that for something. And so I thought there was a lot of good thought put into some of these shots. And Daniel is the lead in this film. He wrote it. And like I said, it seems very, very, very personal. It's probably really drawn from his experience, which is powerful. But it also projects like a lot of navel-gazing angst. What do you mean by that, Matt? What I'm saying is, so many of these indie films deal with people's angst and anger and issues.
Yeah.
So it's already kind of cliche, but it can be done well. And I think, Daniel did this very well. Mm-hmm. But this is one of those films that could be a lot leaner. And that's tough to do when it's so internal. Just like with Mike's experience with Where Did We Go Wrong, this is like that on steroids when it comes to having a very personal, impactful story. It's a boy and his mother. There's drugs involved. There's, I don't want to say too much about the film, but it's done very well. But the nitpick for me is that, it could be leaner. It doesn't have to be so introspective. There's a lot of Daniel sitting kind of sulking, and that got redundant.
Yeah, and I felt like he didn't need to do that because the acting said that. He looked the character. He acted like that. He didn't need the sitting and sulking quietly so much.
And in between his drug use.
Yes.
But to also touch on that, another little note of mine was that he's sitting on a couch with a white wall behind him. Indie filmmakers, please hear me. Don't do the white wall unless there's a clear motivation for a white wall. For instance, a film I did recently does have white walls in the scene. Now, they're white walls because this family is moving. There could be nothing on the walls.
Yep.
We had to strip the walls. So we had to shoot so that the frame was at least interesting while dealing with the white walls, or having moving boxes in the frame to
tell that story.
Tell that. But so white walls can be motivated, but here they just weren't. And I felt it was a missed opportunity for Daniel to paint the frame with these walls. Because if you're looking at these walls behind the main character, all that white is just a canvas for you to tell us more about your main character. What bands does he like? Could there be things from his past with his mother that would be up there? Even, you don't have to, It doesn't have to be obvious. It could all only make sense to you, but it makes the frame interesting. Indie filmmakers, use your entire frame to tell your story. It's all valuable real estate. It's not just about a character who says some things. It's about everything, the production design around them. So I just felt that was a missed opportunity to really take a look at that wall and put some stuff up on there that tells me more about your main character. But I also want to say Jennifer Collins as his mom was wonderful.
Yeah.
The interaction between the two of them is worth the entire watch of the film. So it is recommended. It's definitely an honorable mention. Just again, a narrative short that was in some really tough competition. So Daniel, thanks for submitting. Okay, so a lot of honorable mentions. Well, there's 6 honorable mentions.
Yeah, there's 2 more.
Which feels like a lot. But there really was a lot of great submissions. And I want to talk about A Stand for Damaged Fame, which is a narrative comedy short that was directed by Kent J. Arsenio and David Luck. And it's a comedy short about a therapist to the rich and famous who's looking to make it rich from an investment. And she finds her mark in Norman Corpy, who is actually, in real life, on MTV's The Real World. Remember MTV?
Where they used to play music television, correct?
I can barely remember that.
Interesting.
But I think he was in the 92 Real World cast, which, gosh, that was the first cast, I want to say.
That sounds pretty early, yeah.
Which, that would have been with my girl Heather B. So if you're familiar with The Real World, Norman from 1992 is in A Stand for Damaged Fame, which stars Jen Gannon, and she does the most she can with what she was given. I thought she performed really well. She really made me hate her character.
Yeah, her lines. Yeah, her lines, her acting was believable.
Yeah, it was
what she was going for.
Yeah, I felt like she really, embodied the character. Yeah. She did a great job. The supporting cast was really fun, including Norman Corpy. For me, what was your take on this?
Yeah, it seemed, and this is just for a couple of the shots, they seemed a little amateur. Like the framing was weird when there were multiple people in the shot. The edges were cut off. There was just interesting cuts that kind of pulled you out of the moment. There were just some amateur filmmaking, not filmmaking, but amateur cinematography, in my opinion.
That's great, because that's exactly what I was going to say. And I think
we try not to talk about these as we're watching them, by the way.
Right, yeah. So I think the people making this film are good at what they specialize in. And I don't think anybody making this film was specialized in cinematography or any of that. So there was some strange framing, like you said, cutting off the edges where that wasn't necessary at all. And I'm talking like, you got 3 people lined up and arms of the people on the edges are just cut off. And it just...
Yeah, just like back up.
As, as a cinematographer, I like,
just little things.
Stop doing that. Some of the edits I felt really pulled you out of the moment. And some of them were due to the type of cinematography because they would keyframe zoom ins and zoom outs. And I didn't think they were necessary at all. And they just kind of felt silly. And I realized this is a comedy. It's a silly story. Yeah. It's not, it's not Wally Pfister and Christopher Nolan combining to make an epic, but it was just didn't feel necessary because I felt the talent they had on screen was doing the job just fine. We laughed out loud.
Yeah, the dialogue was funny, believable.
There was funny interactions with the character. There was a really cool edit towards the end where Jen Gannon goes to sit down and she's in one place, but she sits down into another, and that's all done in one cut.
Yeah.
And I just thought
very
that was
creative.
That made me, smile. I really liked that. Overall, a strong short film. It was lean, kids. Yeah. They kept it short. It was fun. It told the story it needed to tell. And it was a major competitor for this month. I think if our narrative short winner hadn't submitted, this would have been, definitely in conversation for our winner for this month. But thank you for submitting, and we had a good time watching A Stand for Damaged Fame. Our last honorable mention, and I know I've spent a lot of time opening up here on these honorable mentions, but this is just, I feel like this is an opportunity for me to tell these people why you're not a winner.
Yeah, and also that we watched it.
Well, right. I mean, I would assume everyone assumes we watch everything.
That's true, maybe.
I mean, I have my own questions sometimes at some of these film festivals, but
yeah,
it would be weird if we didn't.
Yeah.
What if we didn't watch our narrative winner. Short winner? Ooh. Well, when clearly that's the winner. But, anyways. I'm taking time here to try to talk to people to give them my genuine feedback as a fellow indie filmmaker and a lover of movies and these types of things. My opinion means nothing. I am no professional critic by any means. But if I can talk to you as a friend and help you, even if you don't agree with me, you've heard this, you've at least heard some feedback that you disagree with, and you're either weighing that on your end or not.
Yeah. And good artists are open to feedback and growing. And I think that what we're trying to do is give good feedback so that people can help themselves grow and move forward and be better at what they love to do.
That's very fair.
Okay.
I almost, as an artist, I wanted to tell you, I don't have to be open to anybody. I'm going to make what I want to make and forget you. But
I feel the same way as an artist.
Right.
And we both have things in our lives where we have to answer to other people's creativity, I say in air quotes.
Yeah.
And, so you do still need to get better, though, in situations like this.
Right.
You can.
And for anybody, if you're hearing criticism or, I hate to call it criticism, I just tell you, our thoughts. It's just our notes.
Yeah.
Be proud. Everybody, we say this every time. Be proud of what you made. Because many people don't make anything at all.
Yeah, they get to, step F, and that's where they leave off, and they never get to step Z.
Boy, I have some stories I want to tell eventually. Can't tell them here. But, okay.
Last one.
Last honorable mention is Inner Ability, which was directed by Jordan Scott. And Jordan wrote it. He actually stars in it as the lead. Now, so this is about a man who has a power to teleport, basically. And it's his journey in learning how to do that. That's the intent of this film, which is a nice short 12 minutes. So kudos to you, Jordan, on just the restraint of keeping it to 12 minutes. Although I think you have about 2 minutes of story in this 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to say. Innerability is like a 12-minute metaphor and motivational speech.
Yes.
For life. There's a lot of cliched dialogue and statements made, and I thought it was really funny that Jordan actually touches on that by kind of mentioning that within an exchange with two people, which was great. That was a great nod that you're very self-aware, Jordan. And the premise is great. I really felt like, the lead character dealing with trying to cultivate and develop this ability, which others have in this world, is a big metaphor for life, or trying things and trying to be good at anything. That's what this really stands in for. And I think that's great. You take that very simple, relatable message, you put kind of a sci-fi twist on it, and I'm glad I had a chance to see it. And Jordan, as I said, he's the writer here, but he's the lead, and he directed it. I'm guessing he edited the film as well. And I love it as a potential table setter, or kind of a teaser for like a bigger story. I think it is well for that. And again, that goes back to, it's a 2-minute story spread out for 12 minutes, which doesn't always make a great short film. And I'll say, as far as acting, Isaiah Little as Terry was the standout for me. What I want to say about this, Jordan, and I'm trying to find a way to not beat you over the head with my notes here, but I have some rather critical notes. But I don't want you to feel criticized, because let me just cut to the end here. I hope you keep going. I assume you're already making other things. I think you need to keep creating.
Yeah, you definitely should.
And keep being ambitious, because I love, your premise of this story. But I will say that the camera work in this, in Innerability, was really rough. There's some really rough zooms. Exposure is often a problem. The editing was pretty rough. The title aesthetic alone, it looks like it was an afterthought. It looks like, well, the editing's done. I guess just slap a title on there and we'll move into it. And that's a missed opportunity. Just like with White Walls, try to use your title. If anything other than it looks like a default text on a black screen, just give it some more artistic thought. And it opens with shots that don't mean anything. They're just shots of nature. Yeah. Now, you could say he's setting the scene for we're in a park. Well, a master wide would probably have been more effective than a bunch of close-ups.
Yeah, because it didn't do anything specifically for the story.
Right. And it just... When you're showing somebody a shot, that's information we think we need to process.
Yes.
And I don't need to see waving flowers or anything like that. Or a bridge, when a bridge plays no part of the story.
Right.
So, make sure your shots mean things. And that's why, I come in and I say the camera work was really rough. Well, that's part of what I'm saying as well. There's our dog. That's professional, Andrea. Okay. But these shots that don't mean anything... It
was confusing to the viewer.
It was a bad table setter there. And the teleport effect is fine. But what I would have liked to experience is some better sound design underneath it. Because, look, we're low budget. If you don't have time to go in and do all these special effects. And I actually did a short film about teleportation in 2013. And, I used the same tricks you used. And, use that static camera and all that. So I get all that. And you did it just fine as far as the teleporting, but a little bit of under that teleportation, it just needed a little bit more texture.
In real life, if that were to happen, I feel like there would be some sort of sound. Like, let us use all of our senses, you know, to feel that movement.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I think a lot of indie films could use better sound design. So I think Jordan should spend more time behind the camera than in front of it. I think he should continue to practice the craft of writing and making things lean and finding his own personal voice.
Yeah, in the story.
Because like a lot of the dialogue sounds like it came from memes and motivational posters or TED Talks. And I think it would be more interesting to really hear what comes from the inside of Jordan Scott. And so, Jordan, you're a filmmaker. You're a writer. You're creating. Let's hear more about what you have to say rather than these cliche lines. And it was so repetitive at that. So, just getting the craft of writing, tell your story, make it lean, go back over your script. Let's make sure we're not saying things doubled up and, make it the tightest story you can. But all that said, hey, this is a promising project that I think leads to a bigger story he might want to tell.
Yeah.
And I'd be there for it. I'd be watching it.
Yeah.
So good job, Jordan. You're an honorable mention for IndieEye in August. Just keep working at it. Keep going. And I know you're already a better filmmaker today than you were when you first started making Interability. So you're on your way.
Before we get to all of the winners, do you want to maybe talk about our process when we go through these films?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think it's good to let people in,
behind the curtain a little bit.
And try to tell you how we deal with things. So I think sometimes folks are confused by, well, we were an official selection. Did we win anything? And so how we do it is, number one, we set a notification date that we don't push back like other film festivals.
We don't get your hopes up, let them down, get them up again, and then let them down.
God, I would love to hear from any of you who have submitted to us. Have you submitted to other festivals and you wait for that notification date, and the notification date comes and you're refreshing your email? I know you are. Don't act like you're not.
Don't act like you don't
looking for that Film Freeway judging status email. Don't lie. And then nothing comes. You go and you look, and they've pushed it back 2 weeks or whatever. This puzzles me to no end.
Yeah.
This is me and you.
I know.
And we get a lot of submissions. And we have other jobs. We have multiple other jobs. We have a family. We have.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is we get the job done.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you people?
I realize we're not getting hundreds of submissions.
Right. Well, we're not Sundance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But most of these film festivals.
Are they small? Like, a small team?
I think in 2021,
everything's
is small.
Yeah.
I don't know how it sneaks up on people where you got to move it.
Yeah.
I would feel mortified. Like an emergency would have to happen for us to move off our notification date.
True.
Like last month, we moved heaven and earth to make the notification date, the podcast, and the event happen.
Yeah.
Like through the night, working to get it all done. And I just feel like we owe that to the people who submit. They pay to submit.
Yeah.
They put in the work. They're excited. We've made you a promise.
They're expecting it.
We're making a deal.
Yeah.
You send us your project. Yeah. We're going to tell you by this date.
We don't just take the reservation. We hold the reservation, and we give them a car.
Okay.
You get a car.
Okay. You're going from Seinfeld to Oprah.
I know. Let's rein it in.
I know. So
what do you want to tell them?
We went really out into the weeds. What I want to say is, when you submit, we watch stuff. I don't touch any of the notification buttons until we've decided everything.
We make decisions after we watch things.
So we come together and say, okay, here's everything we have. We need to consider this and this and this for this category, and we start going through it that way. And so when we send an official selection, when your project is an official selection, that means you were in the competition. You were in the conversation. If you received a not selected, that could mean, we felt it was an unfinished project. We felt it didn't fit with IndieEye's bar.
Yeah.
Our, bar
Sure.
of quality. And sometimes it's that you submitted a a bad narrative feature to a feature documentary category, and the project's bad, and you submit it to the wrong category, it's not in the conversation.
Yeah.
And there have been, other situations where I've reached out to filmmakers and said, look, I'm not going to include this in the festival, but I want you to know why.
Yeah.
And as we say, if you ever receive a not selected and you want to know why, we don't come on and talk about your film by name on the podcast when that's the case. That's not what you signed up for. But you can always email us and say, I wasn't selected. Can you tell me why? I'll be happy to address that for anybody. So our process is those who are in the competition get official selection laurels. You're in, and you can use the laurels and promote your film with that as an official selection, no problem. And then on our event date, once we've recorded I guess official selections happen. We gather all the media and links we can for our winners. You go into the website and create the winners page. It's never public until we publish the podcast, but then we have our podcast notes. We come record the podcast. I edit the podcast.
Yes, you do.
And got to upload it to both YouTube and Buzzsprout. We use to aggregate to other places. And then on the event date, we make the winners page public. We publish the podcast, and we send out notifications. Hopefully, if I don't forget, I think last month or the month before, I forgot until end of the day to send out the winner notifications, even though we already published the page. Yeah, it was bonehead move. There's a lot to do, and we were pressed. But so that's what happens. We launch everything at the same time to let everybody know. You could see all the results immediately at the website. You can listen to the podcast, or you'll have received an
email. Do you know what's in that email? A link to our laurels.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So you do not have to go to the Film Freeway Laurel Creator and make your own weird looking laurels. Just use the ones that we have designed. You will have a link for that in your selection.
We still believe in freedom in America, so if you want to go generate your own laurels, that's fine.
Go ahead. It's laurel freedom. We're all about it.
You're going to break Andrea's heart. We find it personally offensive. But some people have just done it because they didn't realize they had the link to the...
And everybody, so far, people are... Once I've mentioned it a little bit more, I think people...
Yeah. And we've brought the link up in the email, so it's easier to see. So I just think, hey, we're all trying to make it better every month.
We're all new here. Okay.
But that's the process. And then we go into a coma for about a day.
Yeah, it's so much.
It's an exhausting
process. It's all condensed to the end of the month, and it's always
when we're at our busiest, pretty much. So, but it's fun. And then I start posting the Instagram announcements throughout, and I try not to dump it all at one time.
But you're tagging people.
I do my best.
Yes.
And I like to, if I can. And people, when you're submitting to Film Freeway, please include social media links, website links, YouTube.
Yeah, we are not going to go chase you down and search.
Well, we say that, but I do because I care. So I try to go find, I don't want to assume you want to share your Instagram if you don't have it connected to your Film Freeway project page. So unless you have personally followed IndieEye on Instagram, I try not to go dig you up.
Yeah.
So if you don't get tagged, it's because it was probably
on purpose,
not there, and I didn't want to just go tagging you. So
you don't want to assume.
But when you when you create your project page, have an overview, your director statement. Fill that out, not long. Make it a paragraph at most. Some of you write your biographies in there. But I like to go read them because I like to know who we're talking about eventually. And cover letters, folks. And, I'm not just talking to you about us. I'm talking to you as indie filmmakers submitting to everything else on Film Freeway. Have a cover letter. It doesn't have to be amazing. But the fact that there is a cover letter puts you above others right away. You can have a cookie cutter template cover letter that you paste in there, and maybe you go in and you change the name. Hello, IndieEye Film Awards. Thank you for considering our film. Also, just as a side note here, if you're submitting, number one, if you're submitting to our film festival for Best Director, which, look, a lot of you do, okay? And I'm a director and I get it. A lot of you directors, you're pretty big on yourself. Yeah, because you submit your films and always best director. But I get it. I do it too. We're the directors.
That's right.
Damn it. But if you're submitting to us, I highly recommend to submit your project to its proper category, and then in addition, submit your subcategories. Because while we are very fair, I can't say that about everybody. And if you're submitting to, White Wall Film Festival under just Best Director, when they have other things that have submitted for, Best Feature Film and Best Director, you might be putting yourself in a bad spot. Yeah. Because other films the other director believed in his film so much he submitted to the whole category.
Right. And it's almost like, it's like a raffle almost. Like the more tickets you put in, the better chance that you're going to win something, right?
I think that's a great
analogy. And we're not telling you to go all in and submit to every single category you can. But more categories means that if we already have someone, let's say you submit for Best Actor, but we already have a lot of good actors that have submitted, and that's the only thing you've submitted for, well, you may not be a winner, but if you submitted to that and Best Cinematography or Best something else, or just in your own category, you might have a chance of being a winner based on your film, not just your subcategory. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and I want to make sure that I'm being very specific. I'm talking about submitting your project to its proper main category, Best Doc Short.
Yep.
Instead of just Best Sound Design.
Yeah, it's almost like you need the category first, no matter what. You cannot just submit for Best Director.
Now, we let people do that, but I'm just telling you honestly, that I try not to let that play a role in our selections.
Yeah.
And it hasn't so far, but I can't lie and say that it's not subconsciously a factor. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a money thing. It's not, oh, well, you only gave us $10.
Right.
It's, why not? If you believe in something that's strong, why not submit to the category? You never know. I'll tell you what. I don't care what you think of your film. You never know.
Yeah, you never know what someone else might think
You
of
might
it.
be the only one to submit in web series this month.
Yep.
So I highly recommend folks submitting to main categories and then doing the subcategories. Yeah. Something that as long as you
feel strongly about.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Don't shotgun your submissions, or do. If you're just trying to collect laurels, go for it, man. But that when people do submit to these subcategories, it does really help us kind of, I don't want to say spread out the laurels, but it gives us a great opportunity to really recognize good things about these films.
Specific things.
Yeah, that you all should be proud of.
Yeah.
So let's talk about winners.
Okay, wow, all winners. Right. How long, what are we at here?
Why not? Why not? Okay. So, yeah, this is going to be a longer podcast, clearly.
Well, we'll try to keep these succinct because I feel like these are going to have less criticisms and more praises, and praises don't actually take very long.
It'd be nice. I think she's being too positive right now, but let's just kick it off. Best Actor, because you're never going to know what order we're going to go in, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm always going to change
be different.
It up. Sorry if that's frustrating, and no, I'm not going to put time code stamps in the description. You want to hear the podcast? This is the podcast. Put it on, go do your other things, just like you're doing right now, and just listen to us ramble. But our Best Actor this month was a pleasant surprise. And this came in the form of a web series called Halfway to 50, which was directed by Sierra Schnack and Kelly Murray, which was a fun, short and effective little web series episode. And our Best Actor this month is Amanda Frances.
Yay!
And I just want to say, I thought she was funny. She was cute. The camera loves her. Her facial expressions were great.
Her interactions with others.
She has talent, and she's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I thought, she was a bright spot.
Yes.
Particularly in that, I mean, it's that web series is about her character, but I was like, okay, well, I want to see the next episode.
Yeah.
Now. I want to see more with this character. So great job, Amanda, and great job to Sierra Schnack and Kelly Murray for directing Halfway to 50. We'll move on to Best Web Series since we're talking about web series. And this was a pleasant surprise this month. Our Best Web Series was Dadrathy, which was directed by Rick and Alexandra Herrera. And Dadrathy, they submitted it as a collection of episodes.
Yes.
Which was cool, because sometimes we see these web series and we're like, oh,
well, that's it.
One episode. Yeah. So it was fun to see so much of it. But it's a fun and realistic look at being a family man.
Yeah, which you don't see a lot.
No,
you don't see a lot of that anymore.
I really enjoyed kind of just the family aspect.
Wholesomeness.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's like the part where these are two dads who meet up and they have young children, and it's about them getting through life and these experiences.
Yeah, and they're in different seasons of their parenthood as well.
Right.
Which helps with the way that they talk to each other.
And I just want to say that that putting together the stroller was so great. Had us right there. I was all in at that point. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm watching everything. But Rick Herrera and Jerry Diaz in the leads are fun. They play well off of each other, and great job to everyone involved.
Yeah, it was Dadrathy.
Fun. Congratulations, you're our best web series for August.
Yay!
Moving along to Best Doc Short. Very interesting doc short. I really enjoyed it. And let me emphasize, doc short. Kept it short. And this was submitted by, I'm going to try to flex this here. I'm going to fail. By Mr. Thomas. Did I say that?
Oluwaci.
Oluwaci, yes.
I'm taking a shot at it.
Or Mr. Thomas.
Yeah.
Or OT.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
So he is the director of Wolf in His Belly. And this is a very creative, very stylish, but simplistic doc short about a 2-time cancer survivor who uses the martial art of Aikido for his mental and physical recovery. So it's got his voiceover talking about the impact of Aikido, and how it has benefited him in going through, what we can only imagine what it's like.
Yeah, and then to do that twice.
Right. So I thought it was super well shot, very well narrated. And if I had to give a note at all, it would be that I think that they missed an opportunity during these Aikido sessions that we're seeing. A lot of it felt like it was shot at regular height.
Eye level, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a missed opportunity to get really creative with the camera angles.
I would have loved for you to be on the ground or have some close-ups of the way that their hands touch their gi or whatever. Right. I don't know if it's called a gi.
I think that's pretty universal, but
the little things like that, like a lot more detail instead of just watching the practice as like an observer.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it feels like you're just standing there watching.
Yeah.
When we have an opportunity to make the frame more interesting.
Yeah.
But that was really it. You're our best doc short for this month. Wolf in His Belly. And short pause to tell everyone, because we haven't mentioned this yet, the winners page, if you're hearing this podcast, the winners page is public. Go check out the winners page, because on the winners page, we try to put all of your posters, we try to put the links that you provide to Film Freeway, we try to put all of those on our winners page, and we encourage everyone who's listening, everyone who's in this IndieEye community, to go and check out these other projects and go follow everyone else on Instagram or Facebook, or watch their trailer, and try to network, see if there are like-minded individuals that you might want to work with, and take advantage of the opportunity of being an alum for IndieEye.
For sure.
Okay, so
moving on
to, so many good submissions this month. Best sound design. Now, we received a short film. This is another narrative short that was in contention for being a winner.
It was really good. I mean, it was just done well.
Yeah, I really did enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I could see this winning anywhere else. But this was called Something Borrowed, directed by Danny Donnelly. It's a very fun short film about a girl's getaway weekend and the hijinks that happened within that weekend. excellent cast, fun characters, fun things that happen.
Yeah, cheesy comedy, but not overly cheesy.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But like they do the things you would expect them to do in a comedy, so it worked.
It has a good comedy feel.
Yeah, it has a good flow.
It's directed really well, and because of all the things that they do, and all the things they have to, I'm thinking on the technical side, they have to account for the sound of everything they're doing. It does win our best sound design for August, and
yay!
But it is a super good narrative short film, a very fun watch. Congratulations, Danny Donnelly and your cast on getting this done. And speaking of great submissions, we received an animation that just blew us away.
Blew my mind.
And talk about short. The part of the animation that mattered for competition was a minute and
30
seconds.
Something. Yeah, it was really
very
nice.
short, but it felt like it told almost a whole film in that 90 seconds or so that we had with it. And this animation is called Pandemic Punk. It's directed by T.J. Walker, created by T.J. Walker, and it's like a comic book in motion,
which I was just shocked to see.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this before, but this was done so well. And it's like animated panel art, if you don't understand what we're talking about. It's like reading a comic book, but the panels are coming up and interacting with each other and then movement. And within the panel, things are moving and happening.
Not a lot, but enough to give your eye something to look at, and then you look at the next thing.
Right. And it's fantastic.
The pace is amazing.
Well, the art is beautiful.
Yeah, the art is, oh my gosh, like the shadowing and the sketching and
And I thought his paneling, the frames and what he chose chose to show the frames, just as a long time, well, I guess I haven't actually read a comic book in a very long time, but from my younger years up through early 20s, is very much into comics.
Not just reading, but also drawing your own.
Oh my gosh,
you are an artist.
Right,
you forget that, but you draw amazingly.
Oh, thank you very much, dear. Will you marry me?
Check.
I mean, as a kid up through my late teens, I drew my own comic books and all of that. Not like professionally, but just for myself because I wanted to tell stories. Little did I know I would grow up to become a filmmaker. But yeah, I mean, so drawing means a lot to me, and I thought that the art was amazing, and the action within the art was really cool, and it told a cool story. I just loved the whole look and the vibe and the music.
Yeah, the music that went with it was so good.
Just nailed it.
I was so happy watching it.
So TJ Walker, Pandemic Punk wins for Best Animation for us in August.
Yay.
Okay.
That was weird, wasn't it?
You're a little delayed there.
I was. I'm sorry. I was
a little vibrato.
Okay.
Going on there.
Would you like me to try it again?
No.
Okay.
No. It's the only fanfare these people get.
I know. I try to.
I would like to go in and add, like a fake crowd cheering and everything. But that would just cost me more time in editing that I don't have.
Yeah, so you get it from me.
It's the thought that counts, right, everyone? It's the thought that counts. Plus, you don't care if you hear cheering. You're cheering yourself if you're a winner.
That's right.
So let's do Best Music Video. And Best Music Video, this is an interesting thing here because this is something we haven't had before. And our best music video is Carrier. And this is directed by Stephanie Rose and Brandon Smallwood. And this was it's a narrative short film, but it's really an extended music video of like separate songs, but it all comes together. It's very unique. It's well thought out, and it plays in both worlds of narrative short and music video. So I thought it really reminded me of like the, Michael Jackson or R. Kelly type of operatic big productions they would do. They would usually do it over one song, but this was over several. And there's a lot of kinetic handheld camera work and kind of schizophrenic editing that lends itself to the rules of a music video more than a proper short film. So they actually submitted a narrative short, and I reached out and said, hey, can we consider this as best music video? Because I knew it wasn't going to be in competition for narrative short, But as a music video,
but it was good.
Great. Yeah. So, and they were like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so,
it had great shots, great color. It was, I didn't feel like it was disjointed.
No, and let me explain. It follows two friends trying to earn rent money. It rides the line of things you should be doing to get your rent money.
Or things you should not be doing to get your rent money.
But the music was good, and it was a huge effort. And I thought Stephanie Rose and Brandon Smallwood, they did a great job. So congratulations. Carrier is our best music video for August.
Yay.
Thanks for submitting. Okay, we're moving through these.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Okay. So let's do best horror, which... Everyone found out we take horror films now. We got a lot. And our winner, I'm going to just jump to our winner, and it's Black Vulture, directed by Justin Sullum.
Yay.
And I'm going to read the synopsis here before I talk more about the movie. So Black Vulture's synopsis is this. Finding himself an unwilling participant in a ritualistic hunt, Brian must find his way out of the vast New England forest, back to the woman that he loves, all while surviving a knife-wielding, menacing hunter standing in his way. Will he make his way... And I screwed it up. Will he make it out alive or fall victim to the hunt? So this was a fun watch. I will say, Justin, so you're making us do a lot of homework at the beginning of the film. Yes. There's a lot of reading.
I was told there would be no reading. I thought I had subtitles turned off.
Yeah, but it does help you understand exactly. It sets it up properly. So yeah. I wouldn't say remove it. I would, there was just a lot of reading to do. But he did it fun. The way he brought in the text was thoughtful, and I thought cool. But Justin, really good job. I thought this was an excellent premise. A very small but effective cast, and they played the roles really well. Very good camera work for the conditions you were in out in the woods. Mm-hmm. The handheld conditions that you were in, I thought things worked out really well. I've actually done that before, and I've been through a lot of those challenges, and it's hard. So I thought they did it really well. If there's any minor gripe I could point out, which Justin doesn't want to listen to because he won Best Horror, he doesn't care about my opinion. But the sound design just could have used some more finesse in the mix. And it's totally fine for this level of indie film. In fact, it's above average.
Yeah.
There's, I'm talking about if I'm having to nitpick here, it sounds like in some sequences, we're using lav mics over boom. And what I like to do is have lav and boom and try to use the boom when I can, use the lav mic when I can. But it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like sometimes we're using lavs where the lavs are getting hit or there's so much rustle or action going on with the body that the audio just wasn't quite right to me. And the score itself was a bit too loud and a bit too pushy. Now, I understand this is a horror film, and we're going to use drones and dome.
Yeah, ominous
sounds. Just felt like they could be a little more subtle or a little bit lower in the mix, maybe a little less gain, maybe not as often for some of them, because your story is good enough, Justin. You don't need to hammer the viewer with what they should be feeling with your score in this particular project. I thought everything else was done very well, and you didn't need as much score as you use. So just in my personal opinion, that could all be brought down a little bit in the mix. I mean, you're not going to do it now. The movie's done. But that would be my only gripe.
Yeah.
But I thought it was definitely our best horror for this month. Great job, Justin Sullum and your team on Black Vulture. You're our best horror for August. Did you already celebrate?
Clapped at the beginning.
Oh, that's right. Why don't you give him one more?
Yay!
All right, so we're getting towards the end here, and we had another bully of the festival.
Yeah, they just took everything.
Look, we were all screwed at this point as filmmakers, because when we watched this, we were like, well,
yeah, And it was the first one we watched.
That's right. It was the actual first thing we watched this month. And this is the part of the podcast where Kevin M. Turner is thinking, when are they going to talk about my movie? Well, this is it, Kevin. This is it. Because we're going to talk about Beta. Beta won our best narrative short for the month of August.
Yay!
And the premise for Beta is a lonely man builds an artificially intelligent woman to be his companion, only to discover she doesn't have feelings for him in return.
Listen,
Well, hold on. I want to say, you know, after reading the synopsis out loud, Kevin, I'd probably just chop that last part off because I'd like to not know going in.
Me too.
I mean, a lonely man builds an artificially intelligent woman to be his companion, period.
Yep.
That's it.
Boom.
That's it. Don't say anything else. And we have to not say a lot about
what happens.
These things, but we will, but look, this is a master class in short filmmaking.
A+++++, like in A Christmas Story when she's at the chalkboard. A+ for Ralphie's.
And yeah. And
so good.
And Kevin's using some cheat codes in this film. And here are some lessons for all of us indie filmmakers for when we can. We all want to wear like all the hats because we want to be in control, or we don't have friends who can do the things. But what Kevin has done here is assembled a proper team that excels in their specific jobs. And they have created a fantastic viewing experience. And that goes for actors, the music,
the lighting,
the cinematography,
the sound. I mean, the ambiance in the whole thing. I don't know what, can I say what's happening outside while this?
Why not?
Okay. It's raining. And I don't know why, but that makes it feel so much more intimate and cozy and like, there's a thing that he says to her and the rain kind of elevates that where he says, the line that he says to her. Because I'm thinking about that. I'm like, don't, just stay right here.
The fact that you say it's more cozy and everything, I think that's really a great take. Because for me as an editor, when I heard the rain, I thought, oh, this is a great way to cover up all the cuts in the dialogue.
Oh, maybe.
Because that's your room tone.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're using the rain. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, well,
but no.
As a viewer who doesn't know the technicals.
Yeah, your take is so much more important to the story.
Sure.
And I think it's right there. And it's probably much more thoughtful.
Maybe it was done on purpose to make it feel cozy and intimate. Maybe not to cover up any
Look,
sounds.
I believe Kevin is of that level of brilliance either way. So, or his editor, or whoever.
Yeah.
But it's so well written, and there's two people in the cast.
That is all you need.
And, well, for this story, yes.
Yes.
Sorry,
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This movie made me cry.
Well, and let me tell you about these cheat codes. You've got William Nickel as Byron, the creator. He's creating the female. But Byron's also been on Criminal Minds, Grey's Anatomy, and Sons of Anarchy. So he's got some acting experience.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Dude has chops.
Yeah.
Proper chops.
Yeah.
Just, he's so endearing and sincere as this character. And it makes the end so much stronger.
Seriously, I got chills, yo.
His performance as Byron elevates the end of the film so much. It's amazing. But then we've got Aubrey Lee Boucher? I don't know. Aubrey, I'm sorry. But I do want to tell you that number one, you're beautiful. And number two, you are an amazing actor.
Yes.
And the two of them together just had us glued to this. It was her acting was perfection. Her robot aspect was never overdone.
Nope.
She wasn't like Vicky in Small Wonder.
Right.
You know? Because that's easy to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to play it that way. And it rides just enough of robot.
Yep. And human.
Right. And, credit to Kevin as the director for making sure that's the performance he gets. But it's a brilliantly directed, simple story. It's relatable sci-fi, which is really cool.
Yeah.
We're talking about production design.
Oh my gosh.
And being thoughtful about what your surroundings are. This is a masterclass in production design because it takes this whole film, and it's a short.
It was like 12 minutes.
I felt like we got a full entire movie in in a short amount of time, and I should have that in front of me, but I don't. But it all takes place in one room. We never leave this room, but every corner of this room is production design. It's things you would find in this person's room, in his shop,
workspace.
Yeah, I mean, mannequins, little pieces of electronics, wires. The details in the wiring and the soldering to the DOS language of programming.
He had books.
Yeah, right.
Things that a computer person, it was completely believable.
Right. And I'll stop everyone right now and say, go to the website, go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com, go to the winners page for August, and we have the trailer linked there. We have their website linked there. We have everything linked there that we can for them. Go check out the trailer, and you will see how beautiful it is. Just the trailer alone is worth the watch. I don't know how else you'll be able to watch the full version of Beta at any. It's not a fish. I have a Beta. The movie's called Beta. I would follow them and try to find a way to watch it whenever you can.
Yeah.
But the trailer alone is worth the watch. So that production design is amazing. The cinematography is just nuts. And this was done by Joel McGinty. It's stellar. It's cinema quality. It's probably the most perfectly lit short film we've seen in 2021. Just gorgeous. Superb sound quality and sound design. The score by Emiliano Mazenga is simple and it's beautiful. It's supportive. It's never overbearing. It doesn't intrude on the story, and it accents the things just right. I thought it was just fantastic.
It's a fairly quiet film. The sound design doesn't have to overshadow what they're actually doing. It's so complimentary.
Yeah.
And so subtle.
It's a very intimate, heartfelt film. And again, the perfect example of gathering the right people for the right jobs. So, Kevin,
not only
you know that Beta wins Best Narrative Short, but because of your amazing cast, you've won Best Ensemble Cast. Congratulations to William and Aubrey for just being phenomenal. And they should be super appreciative at the opportunity of being in such a great project.
Yeah.
I want to see more of these two in whatever they do.
Yeah.
And Best Cinematography goes to Beta. My God. It's embarrassing. Let me say that again for you. Best Cinematography goes to Beta, and that's because Joel McGinty is a master at what he does. And Best Music, Best Score goes to Emiliano Mazenga for his work on the music. And Kevin, we saved the best for you because you submitted for Best Director, just like everybody else. But you, sir, are August's Best Director for IndieEye Film Awards.
Yay! For all of the wins.
Yeah, for all of
Beta.
Thank you for submitting such a great film. We really enjoyed watching it. I assume everyone can tell that. And just what a treat we were given this month with so many good submissions. And well thought out projects. I mean, they're just getting better.
I do feel like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we getting further away from the shutdowns of last year to where people are able to just kind of spread their wings a little more?
Yeah,
and put more time into
feeling creative. All that cooped upness maybe is helping people.
I'll be honest. I'm getting sick of seeing Zoom call type submissions.
Oh yeah, that's
not creative anymore. It's not creative anymore.
No,
stop.
Not going to win.
Stop. If you have a Zoom call submission as a film, don't Send it.
Even if the movie is about people on a Zoom call. Because we are all done with Zoom calls. I mean, I'm not, because I'd rather Zoom than meet with someone in person. But that's just me as an introvert, and not what I want to see in a movie, though. It's not creative.
Right. Well, not anymore.
It's not,
like the first adaptation, people are trying to figure out a way to be creative when things happened last year.
Yeah. At this
I get
point,
it, but now everybody's done it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch them anymore. So don't send your Zoom call movies. Unless there was one we had, I'm forgetting it now. Ruins. That was kind of like that, but not really. They used Zoom. They used that type of thing, but made it like futuristic digital computer vlogging.
Yeah. Communication.
With a overarching story. Just a bunch of people on screen and Zoom calls with a black background, and we're done. But
anyway,
there was a tantrum.
Jeez, Caillou.
So I don't know if you're listening this far. Congratulations, you made it through the podcast. I'd love to know what everybody else is watching.
Leave it in the comments.
What would you recommend people see? What are you watching that's good? I'm looking for, other stuff to watch while I'm editing. I'm doing a ton of editing lately. And thank you all for your submissions for August. It was a great month. We enjoyed it. And hopefully you go over to the website and check out everyone else's links and trailers.
Yeah, support your fellow filmmakers.
Yeah. And so I guess this is the part where we say...
Follow us on Instagram at IndieEye Film Awards. And subscribe to this podcast however you listen to your podcasts, or if you like to listen or watch on YouTube, you can do that as well. And
tell all of your friends,
all your filmmaker friends.
No, all of your friends.
All of your friends.
I want you to tell your friends who have no interest in movies that they should listen to this podcast, this very small niche podcast that only 50 people really want to listen to per month. But tell them. Just tell them anyways. It doesn't matter. But
we're fun.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back next month. And what would you like to say, Andrea?
Peace out, yo.
If you'd like your project discussed on the podcast, go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com and submit to our open monthly competition. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. IndieEye Film Awards. Thanks for listening to this episode of IndieEye.